Hey there everyone. Today we're going to talk about this 4Sevens Preon 2. This is a pen light designed to be an everyday carry flashlight. And yes, this is my flashlight. I bought this flashlight. If you've been watching my channel and watching my flashlight reviews, you'll know that over a couple of weeks I tested several smaller everyday carry sized EDC sized flashlights from Zebra, from Phoenix. I've taken a look at others too, and I always came back to the inconvenience that carrying the EDC flashlight brought was not worth the minimal need that I have for an EDC flashlight in my particular situation. As I've said before, I wear a suit every day. I walk. My parking lot is, my parking spot's literally right next to the door. I don't have a long walk when I go into the office every morning. I come into a well-lit office, work 8 to 5, sometimes a little later. Then I go home, and there's just, in the desk work that I do, there's just really not a need for me to have a flashlight with me. It's only in a emergency situation, if we lost power at night, and typically though I'm not there that late, that that's even going to be a problem. But in the winter, it gets dark early. If the lights went out, I've always said I've got my cell phone, and it's got an LED on the back of the phone that functions pretty nicely as a flashlight. But really, with this 4Sevens Preon 2, any excuse not to have a flashlight like this with you is pretty much thrown out the window, because from a size, weight, and even cost standpoint, in terms of the monetary cost, there's little disincentive here to have something with you that might only come in handy once or twice a year in my situation, but better to be prepared and have it with you for those times, because it really doesn't cost you much not to have it with you. 4Sevens seems to be a flashlight company that really does focus on the consumer and the consumer needs, particularly the enthusiasts, the flashlight enthusiasts, the guys who call themselves flashaholics, who might have 3 or 4 flashlights on them at any one time or more, that have literally dozens, if not hundreds, of flashlights in their collection. That's not me. I've got a few flashlights for very specific purposes, tactical purposes, or keep them in some different rooms of the house or in my car, mostly of the tactical variety. This is my first personal experience with an EDC light. Let me give you some numbers on this light. This is the second generation of the Preon 2. It's been out for about a year, and this particular model is the S2 Preon 2 because it uses the new XPG S2, the Cree XPG S2 LED, one of the newest technologies out there available. Here's a box that comes in. I was initially a little bit confused. The first generation of this Preon 2 flashlight advertised, I believe, a maximum of 160 or 165 lumens, and the S2 version, which has the newer, more advanced LED, it only comes in at 120 lumens. The reason why there's a negative discrepancy there from old versus new is because 4Sevens is now adhering to the new ANSI standards for measuring lumens. From what I understand, this S2 LED is actually going to be brighter than the previous generation, which only makes sense. But because they're adhering to the new standards of measurement, the stated lumens of 120 is a smaller number, even though it's a brighter light. So Just some useful information to know there. On the low end, this has 3 brightness settings, low, medium, high. On the low end, it's 3 lumens, which is actually a very handy setting. You can click it on, and it comes on in this low setting, which you can probably see. You can full click, or you can just lightly tap it. That'll bring on the medium setting, and there's that brightest setting that it has there. Click it off. If the flashlight is off for more than 2 seconds, it's going to revert back to that lowest setting when you turn it back on. There it is in the high setting. I'll turn it off. I'll turn it right back on. Now, see, I didn't do it right. Turn it off. Well, apparently there's no memory here. I thought that I had seen that if the flashlight is off for more than 2 seconds, it will revert back to the low setting, but that may have been how the previous generation operated, because it appears to always revert back to the low setting. High setting, off, on, and see, it always goes back to the low setting. It does have several strobe and SOS versions, which I'm not sure for a light of the design of this nature you necessarily have a big use for those. The light characteristics, I'm going to go ahead and do a beam test here in a minute, but the light characteristics of the beam characteristics of this light, it's much more floody than it is intense and bright. So it's going to, for such a small size, it really does a good job of flooding an area with light and illuminating a very large area, which really surprised me. And I think that's what you want in this light. This is not a tactical light. This is not a light that you pull out to blind your attacker. This is a light that you use in a situation where either you've lost power or you're just in a low light situation and need it for the utility, not necessarily for the defensive capability that some tactical lights have. My personal opinion. It is very small and light. It's only about 5 inches long, about a ½ inch diameter, and weighs less than an ounce. It's only like 0.8 ounces. Here it is next to a regular pen. So it's about the same size as just a regular pen. It looks like a pen. It's a pen light. It's designed to kind of be in the same form factor. And less than an ounce. Really, from a real estate and from a weight perspective, there's really no reason not to carry this light. It's really nice form factor. It's made of anodized aluminum, aircraft grade. So it's going to take a beating, and this is going to get a beating from me, because this will be a great light to travel with in airports, use on airplanes if I need to. To power the flashlight, you use 2 AAA batteries. 4Sevens includes a couple when they ship it. Good job, really appreciate that. I think there's nothing worse to get a flashlight and then discover you got to go chase down some batteries for it. When the batteries are in the light, I don't know if you can hear that, but there is a little bit of a rattle coming from the flashlight batteries. Not a big deal. I'm told by a friend of mine that has one of these that if you use thin tape to tape the batteries together and create a little bit more width within the chamber, they'll make less noise. It's not like it's a big, huge rattle, just a little bit of annoyance. I'll probably tape them up here at some point real soon. It's got a nice pocket clip, very stiff. Very robust. Very nice. Here's the cap again. You can do a full click to turn it on, and you can do full clicks to go between the different modes, but it's more efficient to just kind of do half taps to change between modes. So the UI is, not a big deal. I had a little bit of a problem getting to some of the other modes, the strobe, SOS, and stuff like that, because it's a little bit convoluted in how you get to them. But not a big deal. I probably won't use those anyway. I'm just happy to have a light that goes down to 3 lumens, which is a very, very useful setting when you're, in the middle of the night trying to make your way to the bathroom, or in a situation like that. 3 lumens is surprisingly bright and works really well, and it's not a brightness that's going to wake up the person, your wife, or who's in the bedroom with you. So it's a very handy setting. The medium setting, I think, is about 26 lumens. I typically use it at the low setting more often than not, and occasionally at the high. And again, the beam characteristics tends to want to flood an area with light, which is such a surprise for such a small little head that it has on this thing. Again, this light's only about a ½ inch in diameter. This will get very hot very fast in the high mode. It'll run less than an hour, I think 0.8 hours in the maximum brightness setting, but it'll go 23 hours at 3 lumens on a fresh set of batteries. So you get some decent run times there, if you are in an emergency situation. So let's go ahead and do some beam tests. Hey everyone, we're now in my home theater room where I've got a nice big white screen that's real suitable for doing flashlight beam tests. So I'm going to show you the beam characteristics of this Preon 2, and I'll kind of compare that with my ITP SE2. Both have very different beam characteristics that I'll show you. Now first up, we've got the ITP SE2, and this is going to be in its highest mode. You can see that it's got a very tight hotspot with quite a bit of spill away from the hotspot. So you get not only a nice, for tactical purposes, a nice hotspot that can blind your opponent, but you also get some spill for general illumination. Now here's the Preon 2. I turned it on its lowest setting. There's the medium setting. You can kind of see the hot spot there. It's not a real strong hot spot because this light seems to be designed with a lot of flood in mind. Here it is in its brightest setting, and you can see the spill from the hot spot is quite a bit larger than what you have with the ITP. Notice that the hot spot in the ITP is quite a bit tighter and more intense, and that's just the way it's designed. Very different philosophy of use here. This ITP, not designed with tactical considerations in mind. This light is designed, to fill an area with light, so it's got a lot of flood characteristics. You'll also notice that it's quite a bit more yellow than the kind of whitish bluish light from the ITP. Well, there you have it. There's kind of my review and overview of the 4Sevens Preon 2 everyday carry flashlight. I really like it. I think I'm going to really enjoy having it with me. I'm very curious to see how much I'm going to use it, since I will have it with me. That should be pretty interesting. It may have the microwave oven effect. You never know how much you need one until you have one. Much like a microwave oven. So I'm curious to see just how much I will use it. The Preon 2 comes in a lot of different colors. That was actually kind of a tough choice. The red looks very nice. It has a very nice blue. I thought for my purposes, it's something that I'm probably going to more or less conceal on my person. I'll probably keep it in my suit coat pocket, so I'm not worried about it trying to match it up with clothing or making a statement with it. It's probably going to be hidden away till I need it. So I do like the black. The black looks nice. Excellent UI, great construction. Most people who've taken a look at a lot of flashlights agree that right now, in terms of the choices in the market, the Preon 2 is probably the best choice out there in terms of overall capabilities and features. Phoenix makes a pen light. There are several others that make pen lights, but none that have, again, all of the feature set that's offered with the Preon 2. You can order it directly from the 4Sevens website. That's what I did. There's a coupon code out there. If you check the 4Sevens discussion forum, there's a coupon code that will save you pretty much the cost of shipping. This light only costs you $45. Now, if you've never bought a flashlight before, you may say, wow, $45 for a flashlight? But for some people, this is going to provide just a whole boatload of utility and give them a capability like myself to actually have a flashlight on their person, whereas they didn't before. So it's, when you look at the landscape of flashlights and flashlight prices for a good well-made flashlight, usually $50 to $100 is not uncommon. So $45 for this pen light is not a bad price at all, and you can probably find it a little bit cheaper than that through some of the dealers that are out there too. Hope you enjoyed this video. God bless, take care, and please subscribe to the channel. Really having fun doing these gear reviews, and I've got a lot more coming.